Well, we're extremely fortunate in Hong Kong to have a very highly regarded and very professional judiciary. They've proved their worth over the years, and this has been acknowledged internationally. And of course, we have some judges who are actually from other common law jurisdictions sitting here in our courts, particularly in the Court of Final Appeal, which enriches our jurisprudence. During the riots of 2019-2020, the judges were threatened by some people. Their courts were actually firebombed at various stages of the riots, and particular judges were actually singled out for threats, both in social media and in graffiti, which was put on the walls of courts and elsewhere. But despite that type of pressure, the judges have always refused to buckle, and they've continued to do the duty and to administer justice without fear or favour. And indeed, the judicial oath, which they all take, requires them to administer justice without fear or favour, self-interest or deceit. And they have adhered to that, even in the most difficult circumstances. And in recent times, when national security suspects have been tried, they've also faced threats from hostile places. For example, the United States Congress has sought to have sanctions imposed on Hong Kong judges and indeed prosecutors. So this must have been unnerving for many of the people involved, but nonetheless they have refused they've refused to buckle from doing their duties in the face of what must be quite difficult circumstances. And again, we've seen that in the United Kingdom, for example, there have been endless calls for Jimmy Lai to be immediately released. So this also exerts pressures on the judges. But as all good judges do, they put pressures of this sort to one side and decide their cases before them solely on the basis of the evidence, which is very much to their credit. And remember as well that suspects in Hong Kong, whether they're in ordinary criminal trials or whether they're facing national security trials, have certain fair trial guarantees. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights makes clear that certain protections are necessary in criminal trials, and those protections apply irrespective of the nature of the case. And once cases go to court, national security trials are no different from general criminal trials. It's incumbent upon the prosecution to produce its evidence, to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, and the judges will only convict if at the end of the day they are sure of guilt. And Mr. Lai himself had the benefit of all these guarantees. He had a first-class legal team comprising several lawyers, including a senior counsel from Hong Kong and a King's counsel from New Zealand. They took every possible point on his behalf, and the defence was able to fully test the evidence which the prosecution placed before the court. And after a trial which fully complied with the international guarantees, Mr. Lai was convicted. And one other point on this, if I may, it's worthwhile mentioning that in the national security laws of Hong Kong, unlike those of other jurisdictions, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is specifically highlighted, and it's made clear that its rights must be protected in the course of trials for national security offences. And the national security laws also emphasise that human rights must be upheld in the course of criminal proceedings. So the traditional rights apply in national security trials, as they do in other types of cases, and everybody enjoys a fair trial as contemplated by the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights.